Alrighty then. Let's see. Is this working? All of that yarn can stay over there. Camera is in terrible position because I didn't get a chance to set it up right. Let's just... Okay, fuck it, whatever. It's going to be what it is. Seriously, Frank, you're supposed to be looking at this stuff, but like, I'm literally just a talent. I get in stream and talk. You're the one that's actually supposed to be in charge of the admin here, for God's sake. All right, whatever. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Vancouver, BC. It is once again 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, which means that I've got to be on stream. I was thinking about not actually coming on stream, not even gonna lie. But it's mostly out of because it's been a long week, and I was just like, you know what, maybe people will just like, I'm sure they're not gonna mind if I just, don't show up for one. And then, I was just like, you know what, you're just being, come on. The people are waiting for you, Just don't disappoint them. That would not be fair. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing today, dear friends, is that we're going to be working on finishing this particular little bag, whatchamacallit here, and then I'm going to show you guys some vintage glass. All right, I got so much of it. All right, because holy shit, there's been developments. I bought a lot of glass, a lot of it. So what did I do this week? Oh God, I went to the Fraser Valley Antiques and Collectibles Club annual show down in New West, right? And while there, I spent far too much money, I want it to be known. Really just like an absurd amount of money on some very interesting vintage glass. And as well as that, I have been doing my usual bullshit of just like, essentially just like going out to thrift stores here and there and just buying vintage glass for not really a whole lot of money and getting hair wrapped up in my crochet. How is that working out? Come on. There we go. Right. So, I've been, like, needless to say, I've been having fun, doing the things, but mostly acquiring vast quantities of glass, which I'm going to show some of it to you guys. This is going to be a special stream where you don't need to do the redeem, and I'm just going to, like, show you a whole ton of glass, okay? How are the students at the community centre? I don't know because I am not in contact with them on a regular basis. I'd like the community centre. They're lovely. They're like, there's a lot of the young'uns, the youth or whatever today who are like volunteering or whatever before they go back to college, I'm assuming, and they are doing like the kids programs during the summer. I, however, do not get involved in such things, mostly because I can barely deal with my own children, never mind anybody else's. I leave that to people who have the skills to deal with small children. I do not have such things. I've limited myself basically to crochet and also to helping to clear out the basement, which is an ongoing project, as it were. You may be interested to know that I have sold some more of the glass, and as far as I know, I do actually have another Etsy order. Did I? Wait. Okay, inquiring minds need to know now. Oh, damn! Somebody bought the Cambridge draped lady. And I don't have it here. God damn it, I'm going to have to get it out. I'm going to have to go and get it. God damn it. So, I have a Cambridge draped lady flower frog in satin amber, okay? It's quite desirable and rare, okay? I bought it for $10 in the thrift store because I saw it and thought, fuck, that's nice. I need to have that, okay? As I want to do. So I just rocked out and I picked this thing up and I'm like, wow, this is old, because it's so very Art Deco. Now, if you've never seen a flower frog, all right, flower frog is, what the hell is that piece? I'm just going to throw that over there. So a flower frog, if you've never seen it before, is basically a piece of glass with little holes in the middle of it, right? It's been stuck in the middle of like a tray, or it'll be on top of a vase or something like that, and it's there just to hold flowers in place. Now, that is basically what they use to hold flowers in place. Before, you had things like floral foam, or the stuff that, what do we call it? The brain's not working. When you want to stick flowers in so that you can hold up a floral arrangements or whatever. Yeah, that. Yeah. Well, they used glass and plastic flower frogs before that. And they were lovely, by the way. And the draped lady is a really special one. I don't know if you guys have ever seen pictures, but highly recommend going. And yes, it's called a flower frog. Why it's called a frog, I don't know. Don't ask those questions, all right? That's just what they're called. They're flower frogs, okay? Yeah. Did you end up meeting the Rodney guys buying the old projector screen? Yes. He paid $50 for it. He was happy. He also took a notice board. Lovely of him. We were all super happy. Aline, like you showed different flower frog before. I probably have. Do I have any more around here? I don't believe so. No, I don't. No. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I have a lot of glass, like, just randomly lying around the place, but not specifically flower frogs right now anyway. Yeah. I just they're really beautiful things because this particular piece, the draped the lady, okay, she is a figurine and this she is the center of a wide base of glass and it had holes all around it. And what's meant to happen is that she sits into a dish and the dish kind of curves out and comes over like it's a wide brimmed dish with a curve like a very wide brim, like a curving brim. It flows out like it's got this big like looks a bit like a water lily kind of one thing. And it looks really lovely. And what she does is that you put her essentially in the middle of the dish and she has these little holes around her base that you stick the flowers into. So you get the lady essentially rising out of this lovely, like, you know, base of flowers. It looks very nice, you know. And you can get flower frogs in all different colours. And some people even collect them, you know, especially the Art Deco ones. I'm saving all my points for Bacardi O'Neill, Hard-Nosed Detective with a pinch of a single malt whiskey. I have no idea what that is. I don't yeah. Oh, just in case because Marcy's here, just in case. Whoa, sorry, don't fall over. Just in case anybody cares, today's flavor is cherry. Points for character names. Ah, that's amazing. Although I don't know if I can Bacardi, maybe a little bit too close to the brand name, so yeah. Mm. Can't guarantee what book I would put that into. And oh, excuse me. And I also can't guarantee like that's like a main character name. And I don't know if you guys are going to just start inventing characters for me to write books about. Like you're just going to have to start spending a lot more points on just naming the character, okay? Yeah. It's going to be a character when yeah. And we could fuss with the spelling. We have to. Look, I'm just saying, if you guys want to start voting or whatever about like what I actually write, then I'm going to have to first of all stream a lot more often. Second of all, you're going to have to start spending a lot more points, okay? And I don't even know how that would work. I'm just barely at the stage of like, oh yeah, I can crochet on stream and I can talk a lot of bollocks and then I can do ye olde crochet. This is it's just about working out. Yep. So anyway, I've had a pretty interesting week. We've cleared a whole bunch of stuff more out of the community center, which is great. I went around to a bunch of places and sold a bunch of shit. Yeah. People at Terrible Lanes are easy character motivation. They really don't like their parents. You were not wrong. Every day I'm happy that my parents gave me the most generically boring name in the world. Because I don't know how you guys rock with your names, but I will have you know that my real name is stupid common, even in Ireland, you know? Yeah. I actually wrote a short story today. It was nice. I haven't written well. That is awesome. You should totally write more. You should write more and then show it to other people so that you can get like opinions and stuff. Because writing is one of the great like one of the great joys in the world. Like, and I would say this much about writing, okay? In the moment, I generally don't enjoy it because I think writing as a I'm just like writing as a process. I don't think is very enjoyable. I just do it because I generally have to. If when I want to do it, it is not. It is like saying that, oh, you don't have to breathe. No, I have to breathe. I don't have to particularly like breathing, but I do have to breathe. Yeah, but I mean, you should still do it more because the outcome is the output is always worthwhile. You know, no matter what you're writing, the output is always worthwhile. And actually, fun fact, I got into this large discussion with a friend of mine about the merits of fan fiction as a creative endeavor, you know, and essentially about like the I guess the history and function of fan fiction as a way of incubating new talent, especially with writers and stuff. Like that we should not be discounting like fan fiction. In fact, we should be elevating it because fan fiction is practically the most pure form of human narrative. Oh, Hi, Quaid. How's it going? I'll have you know that Quaid's currently eating sushi and probably playing Marvel Snaps. Just guessing off the top of my head. And I'm sure he'll say that he needs to be streaming more. I don't know. I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, enough said. He was a multimillionaire. There is so much that could be said about 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not even going to lie. Like, when you actually take a look at the publication, all right, of 50 Shades of Grey, all right, and E.L. James herself, all right, like, 50 Shades was published around the initial kind of boom of independent indie publishing on KDP. All right. Like it was in this weird place where, like, prior to this there wasn't really a whole lot of really explicit sex or whatever in a lot of, like, mainstream romance novels, simply because they felt that there was no appetite for it. There was no real kind of what would be considered, like, it's not even what you'd call hardcore porn, but explicit writing was not really so much of a thing, you know? And especially dealing with something like BDSM, that was not really so much of a thing. In, like, before E.L. James wrote 50 Shades of Grey and then just kind of blew it up and put it online, like, there wasn't really so much of a market for erotica. It was just not a thing. Publishers weren't publishing it. They didn't recognize it as being a popular market, even though clearly there was a market for it because her heap of shit book made millions. And yes, it was a Twilight fan fiction. The name of the fan fiction was Masters of the Universe. It was fucking transparently bullshit, okay? And it was the BDSM community was horrified at the sheer level of fucking idiocy coming out of it, because it was like essentially someone's half-assed idea of what BDSM actually was, and it was a hugely problematic start to fucking finish, okay? Terrible, terrible book. However, if you must give it kudos, give it this, that it absolutely blew the doors open on the erotica market, especially with self-publishing authors, and it really launched, like, the self-publishing and indie gold rush of the early 2010s. Like, it just absolutely, like, shattered the boundaries there when it came to actually publishing porn for women in book format. Like, and especially the indie markets, it really just went crazy or whatever on that. And 50 Shades was the thing that kicked it all off, you know? And she has never written anything worthwhile. Let me just say this much. E.L. James cannot write for shit. She cannot write her way out of a plastic bag. Like, she's literally a terrible fucking writer. But I will at least give her credit for being the one to start it all off, you know? We should have been with something a little bit better, but she was the first. So, yeah, we'll give her that. All right, to see what the fuss is about. And in the same scene, he both undid her jeans and took her skirt. Yeah, right? Like, it was fucking fan fiction. She didn't edit that. It was just thrown up and you know, just. And the thing is that there's a whole other deeper story about, like, when she reworked, like, Masters of the Universe and, you know, to file the serial numbers off and then throw it up on KDP to kind of get the thing for it. Like, she essentially used her fans and then dropped them. As soon as she got popular, she essentially tried to scrub all mention of the original fan fiction from the interwebs. Now, obviously, the internet being what it is, nothing is ever lost. But, like, she's not a good person either. You know, she absolutely sold everybody out, went for the money, and then tried to, you know, haul up the ladder afterwards. She was like, no, fuck it, we don't want you to. Yeah, you know, she screwed a lot of people over in fandom itself. You know, such that I'm fairly sure a fair number of people are still salty about it. It is what it is. She was, anyway, long story short, not a good person in general, cannot write for crap. And yeah, hopefully she's not gonna. She should essentially, at this point, she should do like J.K. Rowling, take her millions and fuck off into the sunset. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, ancient history in fandom land. Let's we can, yeah, we can just like let's not get it too far into that. That's like, you know, there's a lot of rehashing of all shit. Like maybe we don't want to get into that. Oh yeah, like the Buck 50. Yeah, you should do it. Do the thing, that thing you were doing where you just wrote a little bit every day. It's good for you. Good for the soul. I know I would never do that like you guys in my books. If I say I'm going to write something, I'm going to write something. And I don't have a fan base to screw over, so that's kind of neither here nor there. Rolling isn't everything but fuck off into the sunset. I know, it's just I'm really waiting for the day that she just seriously just fuck off. Go away. Stop talking. Enjoy your millions. Just go write books if you feel you have to, but just like otherwise, just shut the fuck up. I'm sure my writing is far superior. Okay, listen. I would like to think that as of this point in time, I'm reasonably good at writing. Okay? I've written some stuff that I'm absolutely proud of. But I have not been in the headspace for being able to write for a very long time, and I don't think I'm producing anything of quality right now. I've tried to do a bit of writing on stream, and in fairness, I did enjoy it, but I don't feel that the output was worthwhile. Or at least I was looking at it going like, I'm not hugely happy with this as for what it is, and maybe I should try something else, you know? So I don't know. It's like I don't want to put up something that I'm not proud of, I guess. All right, here we go. This is side done. Let's do the next side now. I don't know, like there's a lot of like weirdness to do with writing, because your problem with writing is always the same thing. You have to believe two simultaneously opposite things at the same time. You must first of all, one, believe that your writing is good and worthwhile and needs to be published and read by people, and thus that people will give you money for it. Two, you must also believe that your writing is absolute dog shit and needs improvement, because otherwise you'll never improve. You know? And somehow you have to convince yourself of these two things at exactly the same time, and if you can do that, you can totally be a writer. Ugh. Yeah, Quaid's only really on Twitter. I am on Instagram in some professional capacity, and that's about it. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. Okay. I'm on Twitter a little less than I am now, because Twitter's like Twitter is its own thing. Yeah. I just pre-ordered my friend's book, Fail for Advice. He doesn't know. I'm going to later ambush him and tell him I want his signature in a heart well inside. Oh, that's lovely. So I did actually have a trilogy published, and I'm kind of unhappy with it because I don't think it's even in my top 10 best things I've ever written. But it was the trilogy that I wrote, the fantasy trilogy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that I had to write in order to kind of understand that my own process of getting things written. I don't know really if that makes sense, in fairness. And I'm glad that I did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, counting. I'm glad that I did it, but I don't think I really want to. Like, I don't think I really want to continue with that. Like I gotta get a better kind of grasp on like how to actually write things and maintain continuity and everything. So although I have like roughly 2 out of 3 books written of a second trilogy, I'm not publishing them because like I essentially published the 3 books that are there of the current the fantasy trilogy that's actually available for sale. It's called the Damon Vad trilogy. Now I wrote that, and in fairness, I wrote the first book, and then it should have really been a standalone. I should have left it, and I didn't. Okay, I called it book 1, and I realized that it just fucking committed me to a trilogy, and I was just like, essentially cursing my own idiocy at that point, because like, how the fuck am I going to turn this book into a trilogy? I never intended it to be a trilogy and didn't write it that way. But I was committed now. Okay, so I got to make it work somehow. So I ended up writing book 2, wherein I wrote myself further into a couple of bad corners, and then finally wrote book 3 and finished the thing off. And some parts of it, let's say I thought there are major parts of that trilogy that can only be described as ropey as fuck. Okay, hugely, just like the world building is incredibly weak. I did not spend enough time on it. The characterization is incredibly weak in certain places, and I made major mistakes with some of the characterization, like such that like I think about it now and going like, shit, I should have gone back and fixed XYZ. And the thing is that if you're a writer, you're just going to do that, right? It's like a fucking given. You will absolutely look at your stuff and go, God damn it, I should have done X. And I didn't, okay? I just didn't. Like, there's an entire storyline that's established from the first book, okay, of the main character over the course of the series. Right, her name is Susanna, and like she's a thing called a melding, which is essentially a fusion of 2 other separate people. One of which was a woman who's married to this guy who's like one of the other main characters in the series, Sir Lucas. Okay, now the thing is that although I had the setup from the beginning that she was going, like, you know, she's married, one of her former selves was married to him and they're going to stay in love and blah, 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 and a bunch more shit like that, okay? And that was in the first book, okay? And then I wrote the other two books, looked back to it and go, well, shit, I should have done a completely different relationship that would have made far more fucking sense. I guess you're just talking in chat or whatever like that about like you're doing your thing. Yeah, I do that while I rant about my own books. It's funny. Yeah, no, I looked at it back and I was just like, well, fuck this. I just completely arsed this up, didn't I? Didn't work at all. Their entire relationship, I think, was a mistake from the start, and I should have changed it so that like, Susanna instead developed a relationship with one of the other significant characters, one of the commander of the like basically one of the high ranking commanders from the like quasi enemy forces, but eventually becomes an ally kind of thing, and she should have been involved with her instead, that commander character, because she's a far more significant character in the whole series than Lucas himself, and like every time I look at that and go like, shit, I should have changed that, but I didn't. I committed, okay? Or I was committed at the time. And I'm just like, well, fuck it. It's published, can't change it. I'm not changing it, okay? Like, I do the same thing that I did in my writing, that I do in my crochet. Always look forward, never look back. Once it's published or out there, I cannot adjust it. I fix typos and stuff. I do not change, like make major edits like that. It's not fair. I'm not gonna, where can I get these books? Okay, hold on. Look at them, not great books, fuck's sake. They're just like, hang on. Okay, hold on. Where's the thing? Paste. All right, there we go. That's my author website. That is my author website. Haven't put any stuff up in a while, and I have a blog there that I'm basically ignoring right now. Like, and I know, yes, I'm allowed to rewrite my stuff, but I don't rewrite my stuff. I commit to, once it's published, I do not rewrite. I make no major rewrites. I don't the story, once it's out there and it is in the public eye, like, I don't like to rewrite anything. Not even for stuff like this where I think I've made a mistake. It was like, no, once I published it, once I pull the trigger and it is a completed work and it is up for sale, I'm like, I'm not going back and changing it. No. I don't want to get like bogged down in something that I think I could have done better. Like, oh, I'm buggering. No, I'm doing this wrong. Shit. I'm not using. I should be doing single crochets, not doubles. Heat, one of the greatest heist action thriller movies of all time, is a remake of a movie the director made. The original is garbage. I mean, yeah, I believe it. And to be honest, if people are going to say, oh, hey, can we make a version of this for blah, blah, sure, I'll do that, you know? I'm just saying that, like, for my own thing, I'm never going to rewrite a book. Absolutely never. I'm not interested in retreading that story in the same format. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm not about that life. Like, I want to write something new, produce something new, move on to something new, or try something different. Like, and I mean, I definitely start looking at different, like I look at a lot of the same themes. I have particular interests that, like, oh God, look, Shadowrunner, I never post anything on my mailing list. I don't get around to it. If anyone would actually talk to me, that they could just get a hold of me on Twitter or some shit. I just don't, you know. My friend who just published a book, spent 4 or 5 years in it. It's an instructional book on painting minis for D&D. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Lovely. Honestly, like, the longest running series that I've been working on forever, okay, is called Mechaneer's Madness, and I've been working on it since, I want to say 2005 or 2006, okay. It has been a story, it's been kicking around, and I've been working on it on and off since that long, and I ended up stopping working on it, okay, just so that I could write the Daemonva trilogy and kind of get, like, a better... I decided I was going to stop because I was going on about it too much, you know, and I was not doing a great job on it. And I was like, I'm going to just distract myself. I'm going to write something else for a minute. And they ended up writing a whole fucking trilogy. And I'm not sure if I should have, you know, but I did fucking, you know, whatever. Sam Raimi remade Evil Dead called Evil Dead 2 and got away with it. Right? Yeah. I just, people have their processes. I have mine. I don't like to rehash stuff. Like, I do have themes that I am constantly going on about. Like I love like themes of like identity and character development, and I have certain themes that just appeal to me more than anything else. I like themes like found families or like enemies to friends, that kind of stuff. I do enjoy that kind of thing because I find that kind of like I just enjoy that with those particular themes myself. There's just like I'm into that, so I write that. Um, I have like Mega News Madness though. Oh, God, that's a weird one. I don't even know what to deal with at this point. It was a very different book when I first envisioned it, and I started like, and it's like I've been tooling around with it so much at this point that I need to just kind of get my shit together, publish it, and get onto something else because it's literally bogging me down at this point. Okay. And the story itself is like it's got so much good stuff in it. Like I kind of feel like I don't want to let it go because I'm like, oh, but it's got so much potential. It's like a weird thing in when you deal with writing, you get into an idea and it's so compelling that you're just like, shit, am I going to be able to even pull this off? Okay, and and Mega News Madness was just like it was just one of those stories that like I have such it's one of the ones where like I really had literally had fun writing it, you know because it had just the kind of dynamic that I was really into. The general way that I describe Mechaneer's Madness, especially the first book, right, is it is Mission Impossible meets Lord of the Rings. All right. The gist of it is that this okay, first of all, does everyone here know what a MacGuffin is, or do I need to explain what that is? No? Anyone know anybody? Everyone know what a MacGuffin is? I'm gonna just get the Wikipedia definition just in case. Because I don't want to have to try and explain what a MacGuffin is. MacGuffin. Da da da. Okay, I'm just gonna paste it here. That's a MacGuffin. Okay, that link right there. That's a MacGuffin. So that it just helps when I'm trying to explain what the story is about. Okay, there's the MacGuffin. That's what it is. Like Maltese Falcon is the typical example everybody gives us. Like it's a thing that drives the plot forward anyway. Okay. Well, Mechaneer's Madness is essentially about this weird steampunk fantasy about like an elvish thief steals a magical MacGuffin, subsequently gets double crossed and loses the MacGuffin. The MacGuffin just happens to have the potential to destroy the world as they know it, and the assassin slash master spy who was sent after him to get the MacGuffin back the two of them essentially have to team up and as a kind of a weird buddy cop kind of thing, chase after the MacGuffin and take it back before the bad guys use it to destroy the world. And then at the end they have to essentially decide whether they're going to be friends or if the master spy is going to just kill the thief and take his head back instead of himself. It's always an elf and a magical MacGuffin. I know, right? It just happens to be it happens to be an elf in this case because like that was just how that worked out. Okay, and I built the rest of the backstory about that. But like I just it for what it's worth, the master assassin, whoever, is actually an orc, and elfish thiefy guy is God. He's the most fun to write because like he speaks with an Irish accent because of plot related reasons. And he's fucking hilarious to write because he has my weird sense of humor. And the master spy doesn't. She's basically like what's his face from like Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible. She's the highly trained, highly skilled covert operative. And he is effectively like John McClane and not even very good at that. And yeah, that's actually pretty good. Tom, what's his face from Mission Impossible and John McClane have to go save the world. And it's a slightly lighter version of John McClane from Die Hard. Just in case anyone doesn't know, John McClane, the guy from Die Hard. Yeah, just in case we're clear about that. Yeah, not a cop, more just like thief or whatever. Like Ethan Hunt. There you go. Thank you, Dennis. Quaid and Matthew. Do appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, Ethan Hunt and John McClane have to go and save the world from a magical MacGuffin that could be used to destroy literally fucking everything. If he talks like you, does he swear like you? He does, but I don't use like actual swear words because I just generally avoid that in my fantasy. Yeah, he does talk like me. Yes. Um, the one thing that I really enjoy about it, like I got this a lot from like Terry Pratchett doing the Wee Freeman or whatever like that, and the accents or whatever for the Wee Freeman. It is very much a strong accent, okay. But the thing that I find really interesting about accents in general is especially with English dialects and everything, it is not a case of simply it's not a case of simply doing stuff like the emphasizing the sounds of words and how the sounds change when you're actually doing an accent. Hiberno English is not just that. It is like it's an entire structure of like grammar or whatever associated with it, which is different to regular English. And like I have experimented with like how much of an accent I like to give him, but by and large what I go for is just like I use the stylistic kind of like the stylistic elements of Hiberno English in order to emphasize the fact that the way he talks, he essentially talks with an Irish accent. He talks like me, whereas the Master Spy has a very much more like neutral kind of standard fantasy accent kind of thing. But look, that's just the thing. It's just incredibly funny to write the two of them together because she's constantly playing the straight man who's like the one who's really competent and in charge and everything like that, but has her own issues with like not really being able to deal with people on a personal level because she's usually not dealing with people at all. She's a master spy. She's normally never seen at all, and he is essentially all about being able to deal with people, and he's a massive smartass, and the part of the first book, the major themes for it is just like fire forged friends and everything, which is like they kind of like become friends through adversity, you know, because they're taking part in this, and they're sort of thrown in together this incredible like adventure where they've got to like travel essentially across the world, Lord of the Rings style, and instead of actually bringing the ring to Mordor, they got to go and get the ring back before Sauron uses it to destroy the world. Yeah. Does a spy have an accent? Not really. She's a more formal way of speaking, but she does not have an accent per se. At least nothing that I would emphasize. She's a lot of fun to write. I like her a lot. Mostly because she is my expression of neuroticism, you know. If we're going to take like the opinion that like every character that you write is actually expression of some aspect of yourself, okay, he is definitely an expression of the fact that I'm a massive smartass a lot of the time, and she's an expression of the fact that I'm incredibly neurotic sometimes, and the way that she acts essentially around other people is like a reflection of that, like that she can be like she's a master spy. Her thing is that she's incredibly good at one-handed fighting. She's very good at like essentially sneaking, getting into weird places, things like lockpicking, poisons, blah, blah, all the stuff you'd expect of a master spy kind of thing, Ethan Hunt style. Set in fantasy, steampunk, whatever you want to call it. But she generally does not deal with people because she's not dealing with people on a day-by-day basis. Her missions don't involve that. She doesn't need to be dealing with people. If you've got to go and, like, kill this one guy, she's not going to be seen at all. And it's not going to be and her thing is that, like, she would, like, let's say she said, hey, go kill that diplomat or something like that. Okay, she'll go kill a diplomat and it'll look like a heart attack or something. She's not meant to be seen. That's the entire point. She's a master spy. Yeah. And it's not like James Bond. It's not that kind of spy. This is a fantasy thing. And there's other stuff as well. Like, she's also like the bodyguard of the Empress. And there's a massive kind of amount of history about like, well, her kind of spy guild or whatever you want to call it has been absolutely disgraced because her mother, the previous spy master or whatever, was like, she was like the head of the whole, it was like, and the best of the best, and her mother killed the previous empress of the Orcish Empire and disgraced the guild, disgraced her entire clan, and that turned into a massive shit show. So now she's essentially known as being like the daughter of a traitor, and she's absolutely hated, but she's still the bodyguard of the current empress. And there's all kinds of like backstory as to why she does that, why she's allowed to do that, which is kind of like, there's a whole like aspect of her history about like how does like she has essentially been treated like an absolute pariah her entire life, and her entire job and mission or whatever is to protect the current empress. You know, even though her mother was the one who offed the previous emperor. And there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. She's fucking fantastic fun to write. Like, she has lovely depth, which I really like in that kind of character, because it's like, I really hate the whole like kind of tortured, angsty characters and like that. But like, despite the fact that she's had a really tough kind of life, especially because like she's hated by a lot of people because of her family, you know, what her mother did. She's not guilty of it, you know, but it's her mother was a traitor, not her. However, like she is still a patriot in spite of all that, and still absolutely loyal in spite of all that, and constantly looking to redeem her family, you know, that kind of thing, and harbors a massive amount of like, you know, built up, you know, pain and hatred because of what her mother did, and like, and she has like, yeah, she has a massive amount of depth, you know. I really like that. And Elfie guy or whatever, like the thief or whatever, he's like an exile, like he was like essentially the crown prince, I guess, of the elves or whatever, but like, you know, was absolutely abused by his mother, and he essentially ran away and just joined the dwarves, which are kind of like, he just essentially just ran away and, you know, absconded and just like vanished and went into exile because he was like, fuck you, I'm out of here. And he's carrying around a lot of like a lot of kind of like, you know, pent up kind of just anger and utter fucking terror that his mother, the High Druidess, will actually find him and drag him back, you know, that kind of thing. And there's a whole thing as well about how he deals with that, and his like the trauma that he goes through trying to confront that, and the part of the reason that they kind of become friends is because it's like they recognize the trauma in each other, and that is a common ground. There's a lot of stuff like going on. Okay. God damn it. Okay. I've just got to read. Hi. Hello, people. Yes, I'm talking random stuff about writing, but hello, yes, Raiders. Hi, how's it going? Goblin Factory 69. You have a very interesting username. Hello. I know. We're talking about books, but I mean, we can talk about crochet as well, because that's basically what I'm doing right now. Hi. Yes, hello. Right. I hope you had a good stream. My name is Cypherlove. I am crocheting. If anybody here is a crocheter, just troll person stream. Well, I hope you're streaming something cool. Sorry, I'm going to get completely sidetracked now. Yes. We were talking about books. I do a lot of stuff, okay, but on stream I mostly crochet. Off stream, I mostly buy and sell vintage glass, because I'm technically an antique dealer at this point. I also do strange things like write books and rant about books, and occasionally swear about or like random stuff to do with books. Yes. I hope you had a good stream. I hope whatever you're doing was interesting. Yeah. I'm doing crochet. I'm doing a particular pattern. I'm essentially making a bag. It's going to look a bit like this, but and I'm making the sides of it right now. In case you care, this is the yarn I'm using. I'm just kind of using it up. It's your basic acrylic. This is Frank, this little guy here. He's the business manager and the guy essentially trying to keep me on the level. And he generally manages, like, he just kind of takes care of a lot of the customer relations, whatever. I'm basically just the talent who sits here and talks. It's, you know, it's a good relationship though. I think we're on the level, except that like he didn't help me set up the camera, you know, earlier in the stream. And I gotta say, like, that was, you know, they could have used the help, but like he was like, no, you got to do this yourself. You got to learn. Anyway, this is awesome. I don't know how to crochet, but I love this, and I love Frank. Yes, Frank is our supervisor. Like I can get kind of a bit squirrely, and I tend to get a little bit manic or whatever. Frank is here to keep everything you know, under control. Effectively, he's very effective at his job. You know, he's a very valuable member of the team. Oh yes, I can redeem it. Yes. So the other thing that I do, in case you guys are wondering, is that on stream I crochet, but I am also an antique dealer, and I know a lot about glass, and I have a lot of stuff about vintage glass. Okay, and I have one of the redeems where you can actually get me to show you a vintage glass item, because I'm here at my desk and I have glass literally everywhere, and let's see what's within easy reach. Okay, yeah, here we go. I don't know if I've actually done this. Did I show you guys the bullseye tumbler? I don't think I did. Okay. This is kind of small. Okay, I'm going to show this to you guys. Right, here we go. Okay, so so let's a little history lesson. Like, let's go back to like the mid late 19th century. Okay, in early American pattern glass, essentially when pattern glass was first starting to be made, they essentially started to create these molds so that they could press the glass into. So pressed or pattern glass really kind of came into its own in the mid to late 19th century, especially in America, which is where the term EAPG, early American pattern or pressed glass, where it actually comes from. Now, prior to this, a lot of stuff was hand blown. A lot of it would be cut. It would be cut and faceted and everything, and that's where you get like the very nice like brilliant period stuff. Like they'd have these lovely flint and lead glass, like pieces that would be then like cut using a grinding wheel, like a stone grinding wheel. And it's beautiful stuff, lead crystal and everything. But essentially, once you kind of got into like the Industrial Revolution, a lot of like the normal people or the average kind of like, the middle class wanted like nicer pieces for themselves. They wanted cheaper glass for themselves. They wanted to have like the luxury of these beautiful faceted crystal like pieces, except like not the price. It was expensive even back then. And that's where they got pressed glass from. Okay, it was the stuff that was very similar. Okay, very similar crystal, but it was like much cheaper to make because all they were doing was just pressing the glass into these forms and molds. Now this one that I've got here is probably a mid-century, mid-19th century tumbler, glass tumbler, and it's called a bullseye tumbler because of these big circles on it. Okay, now at the base here you can see that it's got this you see these lines here. It's like a six pattern flower, and it's got a lot of wear right here. This is like the very base of it, where it would have been like slid across the desk, or table or whatever you want. It's in remarkably good condition, considering it's probably over 150 years old. This is probably one of the oldest pieces I found. Okay, it's incredibly thick and very heavy. All right. And it is, if you can actually take a look at the seam lines, and I've checked this out, there's three seam lines here where my fingers are. Okay, and that means that it was made in what was called a three-piece leaf mold, where the like this thing, okay, you would see it like it was put upside down like that, and you'd have three pieces to the mold, 1, 2, 3, and the seams are obviously where the pieces meet, and one of the pieces would be actually fixed in place, okay, and the other two would be kind of like the pieces that would come apart. Okay, so when they actually did when they were actually done like pressing it in or whatever like that, they would essentially take these two pieces away and lift the thing off. That's the three-piece leaf mold, if I understand it correctly. Like there's been a while now since I've researched this stuff. Okay, now the interesting thing that I noticed anyway about pressed glass anyway is that like it starts off looking a lot like the crystal that was really popular, and then eventually it goes to stuff like this, stuff that would essentially be impossible to create using like a cutting wheel. Like cutting wheels really could only do straight lines. They couldn't do these things like rounds and all this kind of stuff. But once you actually get to like the early 20th century, stuff really starts getting quite crazy in pressed glass. So if I skip that for a second, like this, like it's early, okay, or this is like you're talking like mid, like maybe 1870s, let's say, okay, 1870s, let's say, like, or earlier. It's quite a nice chunky heavy piece of glass. So it could be earlier than that. Let's put that down there. And then I've got this piece, all right? Now, I love this, okay? I spent $1 on this, by the way, because nobody can recognize old glass in thrift stores, all right? I get a kick out of every time I pick up, like, ancient glass for nothing because they don't know what it's not like it's marked, you got to know what it is. Anyway, so this is very, very old, right? This is less old. This is about from 1910-ish, okay? And this, if I just unscrew that, you can see it's kind of a bit beat up, but it's in pretty good condition. It's like stainless steel or whatever you want to call it. And this is a sugar shaker, all right? And it's like, you'd literally put sugar into it, and it's like you're shaking on your porridge or, your oatmeal or something like that, or anything else you're kind of into. And this is about 1910, made by Fostoria, all right? One of the big kind of early 20th century glass companies in the US. I think they were West Virginia. But you can see that, first of all, the color here is amazing. Just look at that. I hope it shows up on camera nicely. It's in person. It's beautiful, by the way. And you can see this amazing quilt pattern. And there's really no seam or anything that I can find. So it's like this, I think there's a seam there. Is there one on the other side? There's a second one. Whoop, there we go. Yeah, no, this is 3-piece as well. But it's very hard to see, okay? And it's lovely. There's a little bit of wear here on the inside. Not unusual for something that's, again, over 100 years old. But this is kind of like where they started to get into, because colored glass started to get super popular around the time, after when this kind of stuff was made. Like brilliant period and cut glass stayed popular right into the early 20th century. But after that, like once they figured out how to do really bright colors, then bright colors started being the thing to do, and that kicked off the modern, like mid-century modern kind of thing, and more simple forms of just really bright kind of like, you know, like primary colors, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's Fluxy. Hi, how's it going? I hope you enjoy like the the show of vintage item thing, because this is like literally what I do, which is practically my day job. I deal antique glass, and this is kind of like, you know, what I like. This is kind of the thing that I'm into. Okay, and I was just going to show you, and I'll talk a bit about like the glasses as kind of like what they kind of, where glass production and styles kind of started to move into it. And I'm really fascinated by pressed glass in particular, because the press, like stuff like this, the pressed glass and the stuff that was made for like normal people, it is a far more reflective about like what exactly was happening than like the really luxury stuff. Like, you know, your Tiffany, your Lois, it's beautiful and I would love to own some of it. But the stuff that was made for just like for regular usage, that has a more interesting story to do with it, because it was meant to be picked up and used by, you know, regular people. Especially like these, like there's a lot of decorative stuff, but like like this is like obviously usable items that are still decorative. Like if I wanted to, okay, I could take this, fill it with sugar, and it would be absolutely useful as a sugar shaker if I was inclined to use sugar on oatmeal or something like that, or on cake, you know, anything really that you want. I could absolutely do that today, you know, still perfectly usable, you know. It's not like the glass wears out, you know, it's good stuff. And the same thing with this tumbler. Like this is it's not flint glass, so it's not like lead or anything in it. It's actually manganese, okay, that gives it a clear color, you know. And it's heavy as all hell, but it is still perfectly usable as a drinking glass, you know. It has no chips or anything around the rim. It's just a little bit worn on the base. It's survived quite well, you know. Glass is one of those things that if you don't actually shatter it, it will absolutely keep going, you know. I know, right? You could have it on your bedside table, and for midnight drinks, you know, it's just like it's a lovely tough piece of glass. And a lot of the glass that I find, the early American pattern glass, the clear stuff anyway, it lasts incredibly well, and it's incredibly hard wearing stuff. Like you could literally pick it up and hit something with it. Whatever you hit will break first. It's incredibly strong, and I think a lot of it is becoming a lot more popular simply because it is just that tough. All right, I'll put that down to one side. Now I have various kind of little bits and pieces as well. Oh, here we go. Here's another one that's super rare. This is tiny, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a toothpick or a match holder, but this is essentially what this is, all right? This is a toothpick holder from about the 1890s, all right? And the pattern is identified as being, this was made by a company called Robinson, if I remember correctly. And it's another one of these early American pattern glass things. And like, they obviously made entire dinnerware sets like this, but this was the toothpick holder, you know? And you literally just have little toothpicks, you know, in there, or matches or whatever you like. Because their matches would be a little bit longer than what we would think, you know? Yeah, they had toothpick holders. Like, they had toothpicks as early as that. Because like, if you were sitting down to a meal, okay, and you know, you're eating everything like that, and when you're done, you'd have a little toothpick holder there, and obviously to clean your teeth out, you know? And it's like politeness, you know, just like, there you go. It's like and like the forms and everything that they had were incredible. This is seems very specific for us, but I mean, they had celery vases at the time, and that was very much of like a product of the Victorian era, you know, because celery was like this new cool thing, you know, and just like you want to show off. They had bigger problems than the stuff in their teeth. You'd be surprised, like you really would. Like, but that's just like, it's so small. Look at it. I spent $2 on it. Because I picked it up, looked at the style of it, and I didn't know the pattern, but I recognized it as being early American pattern glass. I thought I'm going to spend $2 in it just to find out what it is. That's not even the weirdest thing I've got lying around here. Oh God, hang on. What else have I got? Put that down. Let's see. Ooh, I've got some more Fostoria, but I don't want to show that to you. Okay. Here we go. This is a nice one, right? This is take the sticker off. I actually spent $5 on this. This is it's basically a bowl, it's a candy dish, whatever you'd like to call it. This was another kind of a bit of a flex, as far as I know, from the Victorian era, is like to have like candy that you could put out on like a side table or something like that for your guests, just to kind of show off a kind of like, look how cool the stuff I have is, you know. That was like you know, it was a bit of a flex, you know, it was like having silverware or whatever showing off and that kind of thing. This is called a loops and darts pattern with this lovely stippled glass. And this is quite rare. I'm blanking on what the maker was, but no, I'd have to go and look it up. But when I went onto the Facebook group for the Early American Pattern Glass Society, which is generally where I go if I want to, like, if I have something I can't really identify or something that I think might be significant, I'll go and show it to them first. And they agreed that the first of all, it was the pattern that I thought it was. Second of all, this was the first example that they found of this particular form. So there is a picture of this in the Early American Pattern Glass Society's database of like this particular, like the 7-inch like footed bowl. Okay, the picture that they have is mine because there was no extant example of it yet added to the database. They had not found this before, so this is like a fairly rare one, you know, and it's called Loops and Darts. And you can see if I hold it up, you can see the pattern here. This is not something you'd ever be able to do with like a cutting wheel, not easily at any rate, you know. So I see a lot of the later EAPG patterns seem to go straight for this. They go for like stuff that's really looping and elaborate and just looks really cool. And it's like showing off, like, look how cool this is. You can't do this with cut glass, you know. But anyway, that one, super cool, super rare, you know. And again, more than 100 years old. Tough as hell. It's barely no wear at the base, so it hasn't really been used. No chips, no cracks, no nothing. And it's practically perfect. You could take that and whack it off something and it'd probably survive. Put that down there now. But yeah, so I just, the glass is my thing. Glass is what is my day job. If you have any particular questions about glass, I'll be happy to answer them. I know quite a bit about glass in general. My specialty is kind of mid 19th century up to the modern day. And I I have a range of info on like a lot of different stuff. Like I know a certain amount about like North American European glass. My knowledge gets a little bit more fuzzy if you start asking me to get into stuff from Asia or Australia and, you know, further afield. But I do know quite a bit. I do not know about ancient glass. So if you have some questions about, say, Roman or Egyptian glass, you're going to have to go to Wikipedia for that. I don't know a whole lot about it. Mostly because I never really get to see any of it. You know, it's very tricky. Like, it's very hard to find, you know. I've only ever, like, seen pictures, you know. I am crocheting, what am I crocheting today? I'm crocheting a bag. I am working on this kind of pattern that's like, I'm not happy with it in general, but I just said, fuck it, I'm going to finish it because I don't like to leave things unfinished. So I'm just going to finish it and see what happens with it. Like, it's not even going to be that great of a bag, I don't think. Because I wanted to make a kind of a thicker, like, this is, how would you call this? The point of this pattern, okay, is that you can see on this side that it's got this very regular kind of geometric kind of like texture. And the thing about crochet is that if you do normal crochet, what happens is that like your stitch is going to lean a little bit, okay? And this is very noticeable when you do things like fair oil crochet. Things just start to lean in one direction or another, depending on whether you're working left or right-handed. And this is, if I can only describe it, fucking annoying, because if you actually want to do something like, if you want to do something with a fair oil pattern, your pattern's going to start leaning as well. And it's irritating. It's like you cannot get things straight because like the lean is there regardless of what you do. So I decided I wanted to get something, like essentially work on a pattern where it will not lean like that. And when I came up with this is alternating rows of single crochet and then half double crochet in the front post. Okay. And it produces this pattern. And you can see that it is straight, okay? Because the front, doing stuff in the front post effectively eliminates that, and I've just noticed a fucking mistake. Right here. I have an increase where there should not be one there. So fuck everything. This bag is not going to be perfect. We're just gonna roll with it. Like I said, never look backwards, only look forwards. But that is the point of this, essentially. I wanted to come up with a pattern where I can do fair oil on essentially on a pixel grid, because that's essentially what fair oil is, without having to deal with the lean of crochet stitches. I came up with this, okay? Now the inside of it looks like this ribbed pattern, which I'm sure some people are going to be into. I guess. I personally am not. I found another fucking mistake. How do I do this? Seriously. Okay, it's going to be whatever it is. Fuck everything is the motto of the stream. Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's basically what we're doing. I'm going to seam the whole thing together probably at the end of this, and then I'm going to show you guys some vintage glass and then call it a night. I don't know, you know, we're just going to continue until I finish this side, and then I'm going to see where it takes me, and hopefully it does not look like a hot mess. But the night is yet young. Who knows? Now, if anyone ever actually wants to do front post, it's super easy. So what you're doing is, there's the stitch here. Normally you just go through, all right? And in this case, we're going through and then we're coming back, essentially through the same hole in the next stitch over, because we're going around the post of that stitch instead of essentially on the top of the stitch, because the top of the stitch is always offset a little bit, and that's what causes the lean. So instead of that, we're essentially placing the next stitch in the row above directly on top. You see that line follows there, directly on top of the stitch below it, because we're going around the post, and that essentially eliminates the lean. And the reason that it's not ribbing is because I'm doing a regular line of single crochet in between each half double crochet post row. And that essentially is just a setup for the next row, but it is enough to kind of, it doesn't lean, and the single crochet does not lean significantly, that I've noticed anyway. And especially because we're doing posts or whatever like that, it's like, it doesn't cause a lean just because it's normal single crochet for whatever reason. And I mean, I tried it a bunch of different ways and just decided, look, fuck it, we're going to do it like this. Now, the other thing as well is that at the start of the row, I am skipping. I'm not doing one here because I found when I was doing that, it was accidentally increasing. So now we essentially go in through the first stitch and the stitch next to it, and we do not try and do an extra one here. We do at the end though, because I'm at the end here. This is the final stitch. And I'm essentially going through here and then coming back around and going through the back, essentially the back loop, as the final post to kind of lock it into place. And I'm sure I'm not really explaining that too well, but essentially what you see here is that there's the final, there's a final stitch, and you can see that it's following the posts all the way up. Whereas on the other side, this is just essentially a single chain that's linking them all together. There's no kind of post stitch here at the very start of the row. We're just getting past that. So, okay. Now, the other thing as well is that I'm doing this. This is essentially a throwing style crochet. And I'm doing this because this is much, much easier than trying to do traditional crochet when you have a small piece that you're manipulating a lot. And that's essentially what I am doing here. Like, controlling tension and controlling the hook around a single, like essentially in the same hand, even though my drop frames are not helping. Like, that is a lot easier to handle when you essentially when you have to take one hand and just use that hand to manipulate the piece itself. And then switch it around. And you can see here that like I can move this around a lot and then control tension here with this hand. And then ignore that first line here, in here, in here. And I can use this hand to actually manipulate the piece and move the hook around the place and make it easier essentially to form post, and then through. Now there's only 8 stitches in a row here as well. So it's not like this would be different, like say if I was doing a very large piece. If I was doing like something that had like, you know, several hundred stitches in a single row, then I probably would just swap over to traditional crochet. And that means I would swap the yarn to the other hand, because it becomes a lot easier to manipulate the piece itself. You don't need one hand to do it. And at that point, it becomes easier for speed to just swap over to essentially using one hand to just control the hook, and then the yarn and the piece in the other hand. And that's traditional crochet for you. But when doing this, like, now it's much easier to just do this. Like, it's much easier if you're just doing it with one hand on the piece itself. What am I doing? I keep getting fucking hair in it. Why? Come on. Let's see. That's upside down. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has been a little stretched. Okay, what are we doing? How many more rows do we have? So I need to have these two sides put together. We're doing 2, 3. Okay. All right, we're fine. We're fine. 1, 2, 3. We'll do this really quick. Just doing this single crochet now. And I have made several mistakes just trying to get the pattern right. And like, I was screwing around with this for a while, just trying to kind of get a grip on like, well, what do I want this to really look like? What can it look like? And if I do it like, if I do the post, is that going to produce an interesting pattern? Is that going to work if I want to do like, color work or whatever? And I'm generally of the opinion that like, just pick a direction, start going, and then maybe serendipity will get you to where you want to go. And I get the feeling I've cocked this up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay. I got this horrible feeling I've done an increase here somewhere where I shouldn't have, but you know what? We're going to just continue and see how we get on. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so other stuff that I've done this week. I went to the Fraser Valley Antiques and Collectibles Club annual show. Okay. And I was down in New Westminster here in just close to Vancouver. And there was just this giant arena. It was just nothing but dozens and dozens of booths. And it was full of like people selling absolutely everything. And a lady offered me a giant Loetz vase for $400. And only for the fact that I don't have $400 on me, I did not buy it. If she had said 200, I could not have thrown money at her fast enough, but that's all I had. Okay. But it was fucking beautiful and it was signed for Lois and everything. And I was like, shit, I should have bought that. And I'm still going to be thinking about that. Like, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. I'm not even kidding. Now, I did buy a bunch more stuff and I had a lot of fun of it, I like to say. They had so much last, but a lot of it I think was a little bit overpriced. And the stuff that I did recognize, I ended up coming back and looking at it again, and someone had already bought it. Which is like, what are you going to do? That's just how it rolls, kind of thing. But I'm not hurting at the moment for inventory, so I was like, well, whatever. Now, there was so much nice stuff there. There really was. There was like, if you wanted swung glass vases, they were totally there. There was a very beautiful L.E. Smith red amberina vase, which like $110, and I was like, shit, I should have bought that. It was beautiful. I'm not even kidding. Absolutely beautiful. There was so much stuff there. I was absolutely overwhelmed, and I got some really nice stuff. I have to say, I got a few antique pieces, and I got a Fostoria peach opalescent bowl, which I'm absolutely going to get a kick out of because it matches another piece that I've got, and I may have to start collecting that because it's so pretty, Okay, that's about the right size. Yeah, we're good. I'm calling that good. Yeah, I wanted to just check it out and see what's there. It was. Oh man, there was so much stuff there. Absolutely overwhelmed. And a lot of time people just not knowing what they had, Ugh. So yeah, one nice Fostoria bowl, a little bit of Fenton, excuse me, a little bit of early American Pattern Glass. I actually can't remember what else I got. So I got that bowl, I got that. Oh, and I got the pitcher. I got the big orange glass pitcher. I got this thing. Now, the more astute among you will recognize that this is not American. This is not early American pattern glass. I literally just bought it because I saw it and thought it was the most incredible thing ever. Right? I spent $15 on it, and I have absolutely no idea who made it. I just think it's fucking incredible because just look at those stripes. I can't. This is just, it's it's hand blown, okay? It's obviously hand blown. And it's made by someone who absolutely knew what they were doing, okay? Because those stripes are just that's not an easy thing to pull off, And I'd have no real need for this kind of picture. But for $15, I was like, I cannot fucking leave this behind. It's too beautiful. I need it. I need to buy it for $15. And I totally did. And I was like, hell fucking yes, it's gorgeous. Like, I don't know if it's just me who just like sees this stuff and is just like, oh my God, I must have it at any price. But like, that's where I was at. Yeah. There's a couple of people also selling Robert Held, which frankly I was kind of disappointed because like they were absolutely overpricing everything, which I was not on board with. I'm just saying. Where did I get that other stuff? Oh wait, here we go. That's why I'd cut this out. Now I remember. Yeah, like I was not happy. I'm just saying. Like I was just like, I know Robert Held is really popular around Vancouver. Yes, his stuff is great. I collect it, etc., etc. But like, I cannot pay $110 for what is effectively not a really great, copy. Not even from a very good one of his work. Like, no, a very good vase. Come on, like, it's not like his work is hard to find here. Anyway, okay, we're gonna start attaching this stuff. We're gonna see how we get on. And then I'm going to weave in all the ends and I don't know, possibly cry. Who knows yet? The night is yet young. Let's see how we go. Okay, let's see. Like that. I think I'm going to attach it. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna go like this. And you're gonna just have to trust me that there is method in my madness. And that is also a lie. I have generally no idea what I'm doing. But I'm gonna make it work somehow. We're just gonna continue. We're gonna just work and see how we get on. And I think I'm gonna go with a single crochet join here just for shits and giggles. Because then at least I can. Yeah, okay. I'm just not gonna be doing this very well, I don't think. But you know what? It's fine. Like, I'm just gonna come back and redo this if it turns out to be an absolute disaster. But like, let's go for just something traditional. Fucking why not? Traditional, basic crochet, a single crochet join. And this should normally, if I remember correctly, be done like it's row to row, and it's fucking tricky. But we'll see. Oh, and I'm doing it backwards. That's the fucking problem. Yeah. There we go, because that has to be on the outside. I'm just an idiot. Right. All right, let's back the bus up and see how we get on. Let's try this again. Good job. Good job, Cypher. Totally doing the right thing here. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okay, we can do this. We can totally do this. All right, so that's here. I think we're just going to have to forego actually doing weaving in the ends, because we are going to try to match everything up row to row somehow. Yeah. Okay. Can I do it like that? Probably not. Fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just go do the thing. We'll do the thing. Turns out to be the wrong thing. We'll just live with the consequences of our actions and go for it. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Like that. Trying to grab it and then hold it down as I try to do this. I am not trying to do double crochets. I'm doing single crochets. And yes, you can do joins using double crochets. I just don't want to. Although technically I should be, because we have to kind of do single crochets along the height of the rows, which is its own mess. And I'm probably not going to be able to be consistent about this. No, I think it's going to be a wash, but I'll have a go. It's like trying to do it straight through is awkward, because I can't match up row for row because of where I finished here. Even though I should be able to. Yeah, no, there we go. All right. Okay, just... and this is why I use the white thread. in fairness, because like this is at least going to be a little bit easier to see what the fuck I'm doing. Right? Yarn, white yarn as opposed to white thread. Oh, come on. Same thing again as well, by the way. No, that's not a double crochet. Oh, come on. So the same thing as well. It is a little bit easier to do this kind of thing if you're doing it with English throwing style as opposed to with traditional style, because I can use one hand to kind of control the piece and keep tension and everything in check. Come on, lock that in place. Still saying thread, yes, I keep forgetting. I don't know why. I'm putting it down to brain farts because that's the only reasonable explanation. God damn you. Where's that top? Okay. Here. And don't split the thread below. Yarn! Don't split the yarn. Ah! That's just how we're rolling. God dang it. Okay, come on. Come on, just let me get these fucking sides on. Just... I don't even know why I'm doing this. Because, like, I'm telling you what, okay? Do you know what's easier? Do you know what's easier than this? Just about anything else. Like, going down and clearing out basements is easier than trying to get this crap together. Ugh. Come on. And I gotta do it twice. And I'm gonna split the thread again. I just know it. Okay, come on. Yarn! Oh my god! God, I just... Ugh. Twitch. That was my eye twitching. Come on. Let's get through this without embarrassing ourselves further. Not gonna happen. Gonna try. I would love to know how people actually do this like normally, as opposed to getting sweary about stuff. No, just to that. I'll just yell yarn occasionally. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to at this point. God, this is fucking stupid. Come on. Ah, there we go. Hold it all in place. We gotta make the turn now in a second, which is going to be fun because I gotta work it into the corner like so. Okay, so this is where we're at now. All right, that's the edge that we finished. All right, badly, I might add. You can see the back there where I've just kind of half-assed it a certain amount, but now we're essentially going to turn it because we need to get into the base here, this corner, and 1, 2, 3. We're gonna have to count across it. It's just like, you know, we're just gonna make it work somehow. I'm not entirely even sure about how we're gonna do it, but like we'll figure it out. I think we're just gonna need an extra few stitches here to create some space to actually make that corner, and then twist. And I have noticed that a lot of the time when you're dealing with this kind of weirdness to do with crochet, you just kind of have to like eyeball the stuff into place and hope that it works, because it's all freeform and none of it really just is what you think it is. And it's like, it doesn't need to be any particular place. Like it's like it can go anywhere, so you just have to kind of make an arbitrary decision about where it should go and just hope to God that it's somewhere accurate, with accuracy itself being kind of meaningless, because it can be accurate for any given like measure of accuracy. And I don't even know if that makes sense to you guys, but look, I'm just saying. Crochet be weird, you know. Where's my... Oh, there we go. There. Fun fact, I've been getting eaten alive by mosquitoes lately. It sucks balls. I am allergic to mosquitoes, okay? Don't know if you guys know this. I'm absolutely, hilariously fucking allergic to mosquitoes. And them dipshits have been everywhere. And I was actually out at a birthday party today with one of my daughter's little friends. And I always have a choice whenever I go out that I have to choose to either be sunburned or I can choose to put mosquito spray on me and control, like basically keep the mosquitoes away. So I can either get sunburned or covered in mosquito bites. It's one or the other, you know? I don't get to have both. I generally choose to put on the bug spray because the not having the bug spray is generally really shitty, you know, for me personally. Because it's like, fuck it, I'm going to get, like, it sucks so much worse. Like, I'd rather get sunburned any day of the week than I would actually get mosquito bites because I hate mosquito bites. Perry's just got a repellent thing out, you know, if it works. Oh, yeah, no, it works. I do actually have a really good mosquito spray. And, like, don't ask me how it works, but it stinks, okay? Oh, dear God, the smell would knock you sideways. It is awful. It smells so bad. It works. It works. It works. It works. I don't know why. It just the stench off it would like, I'm not even sure if it's not like a case of just pure chemical warfare. The mosquitoes stay away from me just because they get the smell of it. I don't smell it after I put it on. It's like alcohol or something. I don't know. But it's called Don't Bug Me. I have no idea. And I got it in Costco like a year or two ago. I don't know. It's phenomenally good. It's fucking incredibly good. And it's anytime I go out, I literally have to drown myself in it. Like, and I just don't know what it is. Mosquitoes leave me alone. And I'm just like, hell to the motherfucking yeah, the mosquitoes leave me alone. It's like Avon, I think one of the MLMs in a combo big bug repellent and sunscreen, and I'm usually very anti MLM, but that shit worked. Yeah, right. You kind of want to tell them to fuck off, but like, damn, if it's effective, what can you do? Oh God, and I was at the car boot sale, right, and it was apparent that I was very, very sunburned. One of the nice ladies like, oh, well, you know, I do Mary Kay or whatever like that, and she like offers, here's this thing where like, you know, it's for like aloe for soothing the skin, and I was like, oh, don't worry, I'm used to this, I'll just get something, and I get home, and all the while in the back of my head I'm going like, holy shit, isn't Mary Kay some kind of like MLM thing? Fuck, stay away. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. At least I don't. I'm poor. I don't know how to tell them that. Sorry, guys. I did have a lot of money at one stage when I was a highly paid developer, but right now, I'm poor. Sorry. Anyway, I was talking to another friend today, one of my neighbors, right? She said, hey, if you're looking for a job, you should totally go work for the city of Vancouver. And I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that. It's an interesting idea, but I kind of thought they only employed like, you know, Canadian citizens, and I am very much not one of those. Not yet. Not for lack of trying, you know. But like, I am a filthy immigrant. Yeah. I don't know. I did actually end up going down to the City of Vancouver webpage and seeing what careers they got, and they have a lot of stuff that sounds like vaguely corporate, and I was not hugely happy about that. So I'm like, maybe I'll just skip on this for a while. Did I end up applying to the Rock Store? I did. I emailed them, okay, and I even went in again to see what was up. And they said, no, we decided not to hire anybody because we don't think we're getting enough business on the weekends. I'm like, well, okay, dude. Whatever you're into, man. Now, fun fact, I actually decided to do online consignment for vintage stuff. But the problem is that online consignment is like consignment is a bit of a thing anyway. It's like, I'm not even sure if it's that big of a deal or whatever like that. If people want to really get the most money for anything, for any given thing, they really want to be going into to eBay or something themselves, you know? Like, I will absolutely buy things to resell, but I don't really do consignment much. I do consignment for like friends who I trust to not be idiots and are not going to complain if I don't get the price they want, you know? But like, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people just don't get that, you know, that sometimes you don't get the price that you want. And like consignment, if you're going to do it like in a general store, kind of like an antique store or something like that, you're talking like 50% of the sale price after all fees have been paid, you know? Like, it ain't cheap, and it's not cheap online either, you know? And I absolutely want to start doing more than that because frankly, I think that's like that's a major growth market. I think like people should be, you know, eBay is eBay, but I think like there is definitely a market for someone who can actually sell like, online consignment. That's not really a thing in Canada. Okay. All right. Then we got one side on. Here we go. It's a little bit rough, but it'll do the job. It'll do the job. You know, I'm liking this so far. Now, okay, I think we're going to chop that there and get onto the other side and see how we get on. And I'm going to have a load of ends to weave in, but you know what? Fuck it, we'll figure it out. I don't think the NCC would insist on you being a citizen to work here. I mean, I kind of hope not, you know? I think they'd probably be, you know, the labour pool would not be great if they did. I'm just, you know, I don't know offhand. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I just pulled this out by accident. How did I manage that? Don't unravel. How did that happen? Holy crap. Damn, okay. I gotta fix that later. Whole thing came out there. I'm gonna have to go back and do something about it. Okay. Well, well, your knowledge is so valuable. I can tell what's what with that. I mean, like, I don't know, okay? The problem is that if I go to the city of Vancouver, right, or basically any kind of corporate environment, they'll take one look at my resume and they'll go, oh, you were a coder. And they'll shove me into an office and put me in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, at which point I will say, go fuck yourselves, and I will walk out of the job because I never want to work that kind of job again. Like, and I know, yes, it is the dream of all developers to essentially work remotely and work from their computer, you know, and just like work from home and all that kind of crap. And frankly, I've done it. I'm no longer capable of doing it. I want to work with my hands or work doing things like in the meat space that don't involve writing code or writing fucking emails. Like I would rather get paid half of my previous salary to go and drive a truck. Okay. If someone like give me a class 1 license and let me drive like a dump truck for the city of Vancouver, I will absolutely go and fucking do that any day of the week. All right? Absolutely. I do not want to work in front of a computer. Like, just no. Not my thing anymore. Like, I know that's weird. And I'm just, especially because like, you know, just why would you want to do that? You're like, because I'm old, guys. All right? I don't know if it looks like I am, but I'm old. I'm in my 40s. Okay? The fact that I lost my career at my age is probably like, yeah, not great. No, really, like you made like this is like the longest I spent in front of a computer the entire week, and I'm happy about that, you know? Like the most time I spend in front of a computer is when I'm taking photos of my stuff I need so that I can put it up on my website or I can put it up online or whatever. Or I just, you know, I do this. I generally don't stand in front of a computer. I go out and I do stuff with actual real people, you know? I don't want to do stuff from like behind a computer anymore. Like just no, never again. Especially I don't want to code, all right? Like anyone that actually gets me to code, I will just tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm like, I don't even care at this point. I'm too old to give a shit. My friend worked for the Canadian Mental Health Association as a career counsellor, and she helped people redo their resume when they didn't want to do what they used to do, but still wanted to leverage their previous experience to get a new job. That sounds like a really interesting job to have, you know? But like I'm not even kidding. Like my entire resume is just nothing but like computer work, you know? I was working in tech for the best part of like 15 years, ever since I got out of college, you know? And like, I'm not going to diss it as being like a bad job. It's definitely a job, okay? But it is not one that I would be able to do anymore anyway. Like I cannot get there anymore. Like I've just kind of accepted at this point that like whatever I do going forward, like I'm probably never going to want to be in front of a computer ever again because what I did was so fucking meaningless. And that probably sounds pretty shitty, but like that's absolutely what it was, guys. Like my job that I did before was fucking meaningless. I did nothing useful. I did nothing of worth. Nothing that I did lasted more than like a year or two. Okay? It was just fucking worthless. And like all I did was get paid for it, okay? I got paid a staggering amount of money, all right, to do shit that was essentially made absolutely no difference to the world except make money for other people. Okay. It is soul destroying, and it's a good way to just completely tank your mental health. And that is the entire tech industry, top to bottom, right? None of it is actually making things better for people. All it is just making fucking money. And like, I didn't even do it for very long, all things considered. But the length that I did it for was like, no, okay, I can't do this anymore. I cannot essentially waste my entire life, whatever's left of my time on this earth, just doing some shit that just makes money for other people and that essentially amounts to utterly meaningless nothing. But like that's what it asks of you. I'm not even kidding about this. Like, you work in the tech industry and it'll ask you to end your soul, you know? You will give that you'll give that up. You'll get a fucking incredible amount of money for it, but like you will never make anything that actually affects the world. You're going to build a lot of like business to business things and like, and there's going to be a lot of like doing shit that pushes data around, but you're not going to do anything meaningful. You're not going to change the world for it. No one does. It'll burn you up. It'll spit you out, and all you're going to have to show for it is a 6-figure paycheck. And maybe that's enough for you, but it wasn't enough for me. I couldn't deal with it after a while. I couldn't deal with the sheer level of monotonous, boring nothing. And eventually, it got to the point where, like, if I was actually wanted to make a real difference, or even just do anything meaningful in the world, I could not do it in tech. You couldn't do it in front of a computer. You had to actually get out there, and you had to do real things with real people in the meat space, as it were. That is the thing that actually makes a difference or moves things forward. The world belongs to the people who actually get out there and do things with their own two hands. If you will forgive me for getting somewhat philosophical, even though it is what happened. It's like 10:30 at night. But again, I'm 40 something. I am old and cynical and absolutely burnt out by tech. And yeah, long story there, but whatever. One of my students was like, I might just do tech instead of med school because she had a better work-life balance and less stress. And I laughed until she realized she was serious. Oh, jeez. I hope you told her in no uncertain terms that if she wanted to maintain her sanity, to avoid tech like the fucking plague. Because I cannot think of a worse place to be female or worse industry to be in, like, than the tech industry. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's easier if you wanted to go into the trades if you're female, because like at least they're like a little bit more self-conscious about the fact that, oh yeah, there's really no women electricians or plumbers or any kind of shit like that. So it's more like of a novelty, you know. So if you decide that you want to go in and be a welder or something like that, like, as far as I know, a lot of the time you just show up to do the job, and like, then as long as like you don't give two shits, then like, yeah, okay, the guys don't care, because there aren't enough women around to kind of make it like, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, you're just like, I guess, oh, you're a woman doing this job. That's just too weird, and I don't know how to approach it. But like, but there are so many stories of the shit that goes on in tech with women. Like, just no. There are some things in life you do not want to touch, and that is one of them. And I say this as someone who, by and large, did not get a lot of get a lot of major, what I consider to be major misogyny or whatever like that as a coder. Okay. And I was lucky enough to be working for many people who were like, my skills at least were as a tech professional were respected, right? And I am not ever going to say that sexism does not happen in the tech industry, because it absolutely does. I just was lucky enough not to experience much of it. Okay. And I would put that down purely to the fact that I was lucky, not that like it doesn't happen. I was simply very lucky. That was it. And by and large, a lot of the problems that I have with the tech industry were entirely down to the fact that like the industry itself is just fucking toxic, top to bottom, for everybody. It's not just for women. Like the things that I talk about like how it will literally burn you out, destroy your soul, and make you really wish you would, like, it'll make you want to throw yourself in front of a bus because it's so fucking pointless, all of it. But like the added layer of utter horseshit that is sexism in the tech industry, there is all that as well. I was just lucky enough not to really reach too much of that. But was purely fucking luck at that point. It was nothing at all to do with it not existing. It absolutely exists. And the thing is, and I said this actually for a while ago, so a lot of the guys were asking, it's like, well, why aren't there more women in tech? And that actually became a thing. It's like, oh, why there aren't many women in tech industry? We don't really understand it. How can we encourage more women to go into tech as if it's a fucking thing like women just don't have opportunities? And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys, you are absolutely, you cannot be this dense, okay? Because at the time, right, when they were asking that question, I remember like was talking about it on my blog and then more on Twitter or something like that. And I'm just like, I want you to ask a woman, right? Like when they're just going into college, it's like, okay, you got this option of going into these two different industries, right? And you're going to face probably a fair bit of misogyny in both of them. It's sexism. You're going to get discriminated against or whatever like that. But in this other one, you're also going to get belittled and harassed, and you're going to be treated like absolute shit, and like people are going to question essentially everything to do with your expertise, and they will treat you like you will probably never be able to get ahead, and it'll also burn you out and make you feel like you'd want to, like it will probably put you on antidepressants, and then like ask me like which one you would rather go into, you know. Like, and the tech industry is basically that. They're asking this question, like, well, why don't more women go into the tech industry? It was like, because the tech industry is full of these fucking guys who treat women like absolute shit, and we know this. We are seeing the stories coming out in the news. Do you think we don't look at the news? Yeah, fucking idiots. And that was that was the time when there was all these big games. I think it was like EA and oh fuck it, Ubisoft and a few others. All these big scandals essentially were coming out about how these guys, these big executives, all right, who had just like gotten away with absolute years of treating women like utter dog shit, okay, in their companies. Like, oh, I've got this up, I think. How did what? Okay, we may have an issue here. Why is it longer here? Do you see this problem I'm having here? What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? How did... Just... Wait a second. Okay. Okay, so apparently we're having an issue with the bag because I can't count. And I can't count I don't know how we're going to fix this, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. Okay. The student is also 21 and thinks she has to make a decision for her whole life right now. Dislisted all, we told her that's not the case. Oh god. Yep, that happens. Alright, so I have absolutely fucked this up somehow. Because this is really long. And have I managed to like weave multiple ones in? Did I just extend it or something? I think I did. And that means that the corner needs to be on this line here. Which means that needs to... We could just undo this a bit. Yeah, like it's got to go as far as here. And I've just kind of fucked this up entirely, haven't I? God damn it. Okay, you know what? We're just going to figure this out. We're just going to... This here. That point there. This line basically is where the end of the that corner there needs to meet, which means it's got to get to here. Something like that. And this needs to kind of stretch a bit. Because apparently I've stretched it on one side, not the other. And okay, well, we've gone and fucked it up this badly. We might as well continue. Okay, all right. Let's see if we can't recover. Try and get this to some kind of state of workability. Oh, come on. And like, the thing is that I'm pretty sure, I know I made the sides the exact same, but I've definitely buggered up the actual join. So, oh fuck it, it's going to be whatever it is. Okay. All right, how are we going to do this? We are going to smack this down here and stretch it a little bit. And I think I'm just going to stick this through like that. And then see if we can't stretch it on this side. And is that going to be enough to kind of make it work? Well, you know, it's just like, well, fuck it. We're just going to continue. It'll be fine. There we go. 25 minutes. Come on. Let's fucking do this. Cue the Rocky music, or however that goes. Is it Rocky? I don't know. What's the name of the... Yeah, you know what? We can... Let's not think about it right now. We got shit to do. We got to try and fix this bullshit bag. And I swear to God, I will find a better way of actually putting this shit together next time. Again, always look forward, never look back. Always forward, never back. And it turns out that we have made a mistake, then we have to just live with the consequences of our terrible, idiotic decisions and continue forward any way we can. And just basically accept that things are just going to be a little bit wonky, or they're not going to be perfect. And you know what? This is not a case of we're just going to have to try and fix it in post. You know, we're not going to be able to fix it like on the way. We can't redo it. Like, and that's kind of part of the philosophy of crochet, right? For what it's worth. It's like, when you're doing crochet, you have to just kind of commit, you know? Because this is not like with knitting where you can just drop it back down to whatever row you fucked it up on and then just kind of redo the stitches back up without, you know, essentially fucking the whole piece up and then just trying to redo everything. Like, you don't have to necessarily rip everything back. You can, if you're feeling up to it, you can just go ahead and, let's say, like say you've dropped a stitch somewhere, you can maybe just like drop a stitch down and kind of, you know, weave it back up and just kind of hide the mistake. And I've done that, you know, I've done that in crochet. But like, look, I'm saying, when you're in knitting, yes, you can do that. In crochet, you cannot. In crochet, you have to commit. Like, when you pick a time, like when you do a stitch or whatever like that, the only way that you can fix a mistake is if you rip it all the way back. Okay? There is no like just dropping it down and trying to reweave stuff or kind of just fixing it. No. You just got to rip back and redo everything. Which means that if you make a mistake in the middle of a giant fucking blanket, and that was 3 hours ago, then you got to be brave and accept that that mistake has been made. And you're just going to have to live with the consequences of that mistake, because the alternative is 3 hours of work. And most people are going to just say, fuck all of that. Okay, so we're back up to here. That's there. Okay, let's do this. Like I said, it's probably going to look okay. It's probably going to look okay. I don't know if it will look okay. You know what? We're just going to figure it out. Let's say here. And I'm going to lock it through the stitch next to it because this looks like shenanigans might occur. And I'm pretty sure that me weaving in the ends here is going to be god-awful. But like many things, we're not going to worry about it right now. It's fine. It's fine. We're figuring shit out. All right, redone. Okay, let's go back and take a look. So we're now down to here, okay? There's the point. And we're off by 1. Fuck you. This here, and that's it there. Well, all right. We're just going to extend it. We're going to, you know what? We're solving the problems. We are solving the problems. We just need to stretch it a tiny bit. Like we're fine. Yes, we're fine. It's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. We're just going to make it go. Okay? We're going to make it go. And I'm just going to essentially push it down and lock it into place because, like, I ain't got the patience for this shit right now. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay. Do. Nope, still off. Fuck you. Fuck you. I swear to God, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Fuck everything, but we are going to get through this. We're going to just, like, do. Here's the line. There's the line that we're at. That's where we need to lock to. I swear to God, I'm going to make this go. And I think I know the reason that it's actually offset by one is because, like, the lock on one side is essentially the direction that I'm working on. Because I was working from the main part and not the side part on the other side. Essentially, I've been weaving into more lines because there's only so many in the actual side piece, but there's a lot more in the other bit. Look, I know why I've gone wrong, which is the important thing. Okay, let's see. Come on, do here. We're still good. And I don't even care if it's going to look messy. The important thing is that we lock it, like we get it done and get it to line up right, because messy in the stitching, like messy in the seaming, like I'm going to be okay with that. I think I'm just going to tell myself we're going to fucking be okay with that, all right? I am not going to be okay if the bag itself is fucking off center or doesn't line up. Like, here's that line. Do. Right. Fuck you. We're here. We're here. Throw in the 3. Let's do this corner and let's get this shit done. Ah, there we go. I hope when I actually rant about crochet, look, you gotta understand, I know what I mean. I frequently think no one else knows what I mean. See, there you go. Now we're accurate, okay? If you squish it down, there's that point. There's the corner, here's the corner. We're on the same line, okay? Right there. Fuck you. Okay, let's try this. Now, next corner, if I do this and this is going to look fucking weird. It's at the end here, which means we are going to drop it here. All right. I can do that. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Not entirely sure how, but we are fucking doing this. And here you can see why at least English throwing style makes sense to at least do it this way, because I need to have one hand just holding this piece of shit in place. Come on. Come on, just work with me. Yeah, so I've got one hand, literally just my left hand, holding this heap of shit in place so that I can actually do the crochet part of it and do the seaming. And this would be fucking tricky if you're doing this using traditional crochet. All right, let's one in here. This is why we prototype. I don't even know if this is a prototype. This could very easily be one that I essentially throw straight into the bin. Because I'm like, I'm not gelling with this. I'm not happy with this. I'm just going to kill it, dump it, frog it. I don't know. Okay, this is where we're at there. We're in place. Right. Gotta make this line up. We gotta make this line up somehow. I don't care if it's terrible or not. Okay. And it's got to come to here. Okay, so we got to get it to go to right there. And if it's a little bit of a stretch, fucking, we live with it. We live with our terrible mistakes. That is what we do. Get it to just there. Use the needle again to keep this stuff down. Make it a little bit easier to hold this shit together. Come on. All right. Right there. Okay. We're going to get through this, guys. We're going to do this. I'm going to weave in what I can only describe as a shit ton of ends. And then we're going to see what this piece of crap looks like, and we may look at some glass. If I have any time left at all, no guarantees, but we will try. You know what? We'll try to try. And again, the world belongs to the people who get the shit done, and we, my friends, are getting the shit done. And I keep saying that. I keep saying that constantly over the last, not so much the shit thing, but the world belongs to the people who get things done. I'm going to stick that on a t-shirt, okay? I'm absolutely going to stick this on a t-shirt. And I think that you guys should all buy it. Just to, let my philosophy be known to the world. No matter how fucking stupid it is. Come on. Work with me, yarn. We're doing the thing. We are going to do the thing. And you're going to fucking behave. And not split. Not split. This is angry crocheting. In case you're wondering, angry crocheting is when you want to throw the yarn and all of your hooks out the window. The yarn does not want to work, and the yarn doesn't judge, but the yarn's allowed to be a fucking asshole. And just angry crocheting. Okay, come on. Come on! We're so close. We're so close. I'm running out of yarn. Fucking just get this done. Get it done. Get the things done. Get the things done is 10:45. Barely any time to actually look at vintage glass, because I think it'd actually be a good time to just let's look at vintage glass, and then we can just kind of de-stress from this shit show. Come on. Angry. We're just going to get this stuff done. And I was like, I don't even know how this project's going to look. This is going to look like the most god-awful piece of crap I have ever made, because I hate trying to seam shit together. It is so much easier to just make a bag as a single fucking piece. Okay? Especially, and why is there hair? I keep getting hair when I don't even have that much hair. God damn it. And I keep getting hair in my crochet. I have neighbors. They're probably wondering, what the hell is going on right now? There's a woman shouting about crochet. Do we need to call the cops? Maybe. Undetermined yet. I'm pretty sure if they hear the sound of breaking glass or a breaking window, they're going to call the cops. Won't that be fun? Okay, come on. Last stitch. Last stitch, you dickheads. Come on. Fucking get done. All right, we there? We're there. All right. Is that it? Is that it? We're on the same line. We're on the same line. Yes, we're fucking on the same line. We're done. Cutting it off. Done-so! And the bag's there. And I have... okay, there we go. There's the bag. Okay? Shitty as it is, there is the bag. And that's how it's supposed to come together. That hangs down there somehow. And I'll be making handles that stick on here and pull it up, okay? It's a bag. It's a motherfucking bag. We have done the thing. I'm going to put the hooks and the... Oh, bugger. I dropped it. Shit! I dropped the needle. Wait, there we go. Found it. It's okay. It's okay. Right. I'm going to put all this into the bag. Okay? And that. I don't care. We're going to put that in there. We're just going to get rid of that. Okay. And this, all the rest of that yarn that I'll be using to make the handle. We're putting it in there. And breathe. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, right. It's fucking done. And you shut up. I don't want to hear it out of you. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you some vintage shit. Somebody clip that. Somebody clip the ending of the bag. I don't know how to clip stuff. I'm assuming that somebody does, which is kind of the important thing. Let's see what I got. I have a plate full of little glass birds. I don't know if I showed them on stream. They're kind of like, they might be friends for Frank. Who knows? Birdies. Yeah. This is another EAPG plate. Another rare pattern. Oh, excuse me. It's a lot of EAPG looks like that. It looks like cut patterns or whatever. It's nice. Not particularly... I don't actually know if it's particularly rare. It's got this manufacturing defect right there or whatever. But yeah, I got little glass birdies. 3 different sizes. And they kind of sit up like that. I call them burbs. I like them. I have this guy who's probably Swedish. And this little one who someone said was Murano, but I don't personally believe it. So make of that what you will. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you something cool. This is a bowl, all right? Actually, I'm going to take the sticker off because I didn't actually pay $40 for it. I haggled them down. Come on. Bonk. There we go. Right. UAG. EAPG. Sorry. Okay, so here's a bowl that I got, all right? This is, how would you call it? This is like a handkerchief vase, I guess is what you call it, because it's like if you take a piece of glass and just set it into something and it looks a bit like a handkerchief if it was sticking out of like a cup or whatever. This is peach opalescent. And if you ever see opalescent, that's when like the base here is a different color and it shades up to this kind of whiter color, okay? Yeti of the bag. Thank you very much, Matthew. Much appreciated. Now, so TikTok keeps sending me Antiques Roadshow videos. The other day there was one about a Tiffany volcano glass vase that made me think of you. Oh my God, I think I've seen that. Every time I see Tiffany or whatever on the Antiques Roadshow, I'm just like, oh my God, give it to me. I want. That's the dream. Piece of Tiffany Fabriel. Anyway, this is a Fostoria heirloom piece. So the name of the pattern is Heirloom. It is very fine. I actually have a table charm, which is like an apern, if you know what that is. An apern is basically like a bowl with a piece of kind of like with essentially a set of 3 or more, or like 2 to 3 candlestick looking horn things sticking out of it. It's kind of like for decoration. You put flowers and everything in it. It looks really nice. I have one in the same pattern as this. It's called a table charm, which is essentially like it's like a thin candlestick in the middle, and it has 3 little essentially little tulipy looking things that sit in the middle of like like 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks lovely. It's there for decoration only. To put candles in, it's nice. But anyway, this one is the Fostoria heirloom, early 20th century. I personally love it. It is very pink. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it's exceptionally pink. I can guarantee you it's super, super, super pink. I personally haggled them down to 30. It's probably worth maybe a little bit more than that. I personally like it, and I don't know if I'm going to be selling it. I haven't decided yet. So that's that one. Super, super nice. Like Fostoria did a lot of the really best glass you can get in the early 20th century. Like they're absolutely not slackers when it comes to this kind of thing. Okay. It looks white, but it looks, seriously. The family just thought it was Grandma's ugly vase. Oh, God. Okay, so here's something cool, all right? Now, I don't know, I'm sure if you guys go to a thrift store, okay, you'll see a lot of these little kind of doohickeys that look like they should have a tea light or something in them, okay? That is not what these are, right? I generally go to the candle section, mostly because I'm looking for stuff like this, okay? Because like the candle section is where like they're not stuff that they're not sure what it is, but they suspect it might be used for candles is where it was left, okay? Candy dishes is actually a good guess, but they're too small. You see, they're tiny. They're only about like 2 inches across, right? You're not going to put much candy in that. They didn't have Smarties back in the Victorian era. Yeah. So the reason that I'm looking for stuff like this is that you generally find the more interesting little bowls and everything there, especially the smaller stuff like this. But I often look for this. Yes, Matthew, salt. These are open salt or open salt cellars. Yes. They frequently show up because they're about the same size, or like they're quite tiny. They're about the size of a tea light, okay? And even these are a little bit larger than what you can get smaller ones than this. And I have seen smaller ones, all right? So I picked up the 2 of these for $1 a piece in I think it was Valley Village. A set of 2 for like $1.99 or whatever, you know what I mean? And I looked at them and I was like, these have a nice bit of weight to them or whatever like that. I think they're open salts. And I did test with my black light. For anyone who's curious, I carry around a very powerful UV torch. It is the, oh shit, 365 nanometer wavelength, if I remember correctly. It's the one that essentially shows as many different colors as possible. There is another one, the other wavelength, 395 millimeter. That's slightly different, and it shows a slightly different set of colors. I'm used to my own one anyway. Now, the reason that I carry it with me is because I get manganese fluorescence. Manganese will fluoresce under a particular wave, like a particular blacklight's wavelengths. And it fluoresces under this one. Now, you do need to be able to tell the difference between a manganese glow versus the uranium glow, but if you can tell the difference, it's very useful. Having a black light, if you're looking for old glass, is very handy to determine something about the composition of the glass. And in this case, these guys have manganese in them, okay? And manganese wasn't really used past the 1930s to actually produce like clear glass. Like natural glass actually does not look like this. It's more bluish or greenish depending on the impurities in it. They add stuff like lead, manganese, selenium, and a few others in order to produce clear glass, right? And before they kind of got into using like selenium, which is like the modern what modern glass uses to produce the clear color. They were using things like lead, which is obviously not safe, and that's where you get lead crystal from, but they were also using manganese. Manganese, by the way, is the stuff that turns purple as, the years go by, as if it's exposed enough to UV radiation. Now, these are perfectly clear, right? And I did actually take a while to find them. They're not early American pattern glass, they are early English pattern glass. And they were actually made by a company called Davidson, if I remember correctly, in England. And they were made for in a kind of a decor and kind of, it's a bit like the Victorian equivalent of Winners, I guess, called Clayton Myers. And the actual name of the pattern is Jacobean for some reason. And they were done in like the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. And it was super popular. And there's a massive, massive range, of just all of this. And they have the same kind of pattern of these squares with the kind of sticky outy kind of like the panelled look with the kind of like that kind of thing. Super fucking popular, because it's got a bit of the kind of like it's got a lovely kind of refraction like a look, it's got a little bit of twinkle of it going on, but it's obviously not cut crystal, It was like, I think like it's a very much of a kind of a style where we're starting to approach the kind of clean line, the minimalism of mid-century modern, but it was not really there yet. It was like earlier than that, kind of the halfway transition point or whatever. So I got the two of these and thought they were super cool, right? Now, open salts, you would generally have like a set of them because everyone would have their own one, I think it's Jacobean because the pattern looks like Jacobean embroidery. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I didn't know because I don't know anything. I just hear the name. That's what it's got. I'm looking at the style, of like, why was this show up in glass at this particular time? Why would it be popular? But yeah, if that's what it is, then there you go. Jacobean. Yeah. And they also have this little star at the bottom is a fairly strong indication as well. It's like a lot of them, like modern little tea light holders don't generally have that. They don't bother with it, That's more like for decoration in early 20th century. Or at least I see it more often in the APG. But this is definitely English, right? And you can be asking, like, how the hell is it that, like, the Victorian equivalent of Winners in London, how is it that these found their ways to Vancouver? And I have long since ceased asking that question because I've seen more weird shit show up in thrift stores in Vancouver than anything else. I would constantly have to ask myself, how the fuck did this show up here? And it's like, I have no idea because it's Vancouver, Gateway to the world, apparently, not just Asia. But yeah, early 20th century salt cellars. And they're very nice. They're in lovely condition as well. I don't know what they're worth. I haven't actually looked it up yet. I have the catalogue reference for them that has the exact picture of these from, early 20th century, the paper catalogue, someone scanned it, put it up online, And it's like, there you go. There's the Jacobean. There's your catalogue entry showing what they are. And I have no idea if you would even use these for salt cellars these days. Because like salt cellars were not really a thing once they invented, once they kind of invented free-flowing salt, which is salt mixed with, I think, a small amount of something else. I can't remember what. It's like a calcium carbonate or something, like baking soda or something like that, and literally just makes it so the salt doesn't stick together. Because regular salt would clump up. And that's why you had salt cellars and spoon, But you don't have that. You don't need that if you just have a salt shake, just like you know, salt and pepper shaker, you know, you don't need that. If the glass could talk, I know, right? Shannon Ranner, let's see what that looks like. Trellis. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, that looks really nice. Yeah, that's it. Holy shit, I remember doing that when I was a kid. Christ. That's kind of neat. Yeah, no, I mean, it would be incredible to think, like, if the glass could actually talk. Can you imagine how many dinners are served with these two little things, you know? Or maybe they were never used at all, who knows? Let's see, what else we got real fast. Got more spooners. That's kind of interesting. What else? I have the hand-painted nip on, but I don't think that's actually interesting. Oh, and I left more of that shit over there. Oh, here we go. I'm going to show you guys some actual nice carnival glass. Okay. Don't know if I put this up or whatever before. This is a piece of legit carnival glass from the 1930s. Okay, so carnival glass, all right? Carnival glass is wonderful stuff, all right? If we're going to get into, like, here's another bit of a kind of a history lesson for you, okay? Maybe it doesn't need to hold salt anymore, just a vessel for anything. Back to Antiques Roadshow, there was a family who were using a very fancy silver chamber pot as a punch bowl. I found a chamber pot in Valley Village at one stage, and I was there with the anonymous assistant, and she basically said I was not allowed to buy it. But it was a fucking Victorian chamber pot, and not only that, but it had stains on it. And she was just like, and I was looking at it going like, hey, come take a look at this. And she was looking at me going like, put it back. Put it back, I don't care if it's old, put it back. That was fun. That was a fun day. Yeah. So, okay. So, carnival glass, all right? If we want to talk about carnival glass for a second. Yeah, you. So, back in the late 19th century, early 20th century, right? Louis Comfort Tiffany, the guy who actually made Tiffany glass, right? He invents this stuff called that he started calling Favreal, which is essentially the wonderfully shimmery iridescent glass that he's so well known for, especially the very gold iridescent stuff, right? And like there was a lot of the companies that took big notice of this new technique of creating this beautiful iridescent glass, you know, with hand blown stuff. And it was like, and even then, Tiffany glass was like the top of the line for rich people kind of thing. But you had a lot of very smart people who were like, well, we want to do some of that as well. And then from that, you got these guys called Fenton, all right, the Fenton brothers. And that was in like the 1900s, like the first decade of the 20th century. And they started essentially pissing around trying to figure out like how could they replicate Louis Comfort Tiffany's technique except on the cheap. And they wanted to do it cheap because they wanted to sell glass to everybody, okay? They didn't want to just make like, you know, expensive Favreal glass for everybody, you know, for just the rich people who could afford hundreds of dollars at the time. Anyway, so what they came up with was carnival glass, right? And this was some of the early stuff. This one, I think, is a... Oh, what is it called again? Shit. It's a Fenton pattern, but I can't remember what it's called. No, I lost it. I can't remember. I think it's, peacock tail. There you go. It's called the peacock tail, okay? But anyway, Fenton came up with the Fenton guys came up with this thing, which was essentially producing carnival glass. It was originally called carnival glass because they were given away as prizes at carnivals, okay? There's kind of really cheap, kind of shitty kind of giftware, kind of whatever. But the technique that they came up with, the iridescent glass, was essentially this stuff, all right? And you can see that this is this beautiful, crazy-ass iridescent color, okay? Just shove those over there. This beautiful iridescent color, okay? And the way that they did this, by the way, you can see that blue? Yeah, it's blue underneath that shimmer, right? What they did is that they take a piece, they pressed it like this, right? Because this is pressed glass, it's not hand blown. They do this kind of ruffling thing by hand, but the rest of it, this pattern here, that's all just pressed. That's the press pattern. Anyway, so they take the piece out of the mold, they take it out hot, and then they spray salts, essentially metallic salts onto it while it's still hot, and it produces this color. And like this is on the surface of the glass. This is not like painted on or anything. This is literally like it's in the surface of the glass. All right, and even in here there is a tiny scratch. If you can see it right here, this little dot, and that's a scratch in the surface of the glass that's taking a little bit of the iridescence off. Okay, I can't really show it to you very well, unfortunately. So like once Fenton kind of came up with the process, Like a lot of the big glass manufacturers essentially replicated, and they all just started making carnival glass, and it was super popular before the Depression era. So it was like the first couple of decades of the 20th century, carnival glass just absolutely took off and became a huge, huge thing. Okay. And then the Depression hit, and everybody just kind of started getting into more cheaper stuff and everything. Carnival glass didn't really go anywhere for a while. It kind of really died down. And then in the 1970s, again, roughly the 50-year cycle, 50 years after when something was popular, it starts to get popular again because of nostalgia or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, 50 years after that, in the 1970s, carnival glass starts to come back. And there's a second resurgence of it. And Indiana and a few others, and, you know, I think it's Indiana and Federal and maybe a few others, they started making more carnival glass, new carnival glass, okay? Like, and they're reproducing a lot of their old patterns, which is fantastic, you know, and that's great. But like the older stuff tends to look like this, and it's all just has this, essentially it's a more muted kind of a color. The newer stuff in the 1970s really tends to be more glossy, okay? But even now, it's about 100 years after, you know, when carnival glass was a thing. Carnival glass did come back in the last couple of decades as well. And it's kind of dying off again, you know? Yeah, it is a bit like glazing pottery. It's like it's a weird technique, you know? And they came up with incredible colors and everything to make it go, because it depends on the underlying color of the glass as well. And it depends on the amount of salts they threw at it. They obviously threw a lot of metallic salts at this one because it's blue underneath, which you can't really see. You can see it's mostly gold. But like they found that like because you could play around with the amount of metallic salts you could throw at it, then and on either side as well, you could start getting different effects, you know. And like the development of carnival glass over like the start of the 20th century is fascinating stuff, especially when you see where they went with it. Like, so this little bowl, I bought this for, I think, what, $20? And it's probably worth about 30 to 40, you know, it's not worth a whole lot. It's just really cool, you know, because it is an early carnival glass piece, you know. And the pattern is really nice. It's like a lot of the carnival glass patterns are like they're very busy, and they're again meant to take off some of the cut glass patterns of the time as well, because we're talking about the same area where where American like brilliant cut, like the real nice crystal was still very popular, you know. And it was again the glass of rich people. No, not pressed glass, was the glass of regular people. So you had like these guys who were just doing carnival glass with what, you know, pressed glass with the pressed glass patterns, which were taking off cut glass patterns. And this was like, no, they were doing this kind of curved stuff. And I think this is more interesting. Or it's like a more kind of like, well, how crazy can we get? You know, what can we do with these new techniques again? Like, because again, when this stuff actually originally came out, it was like high tech, you know? This was like the new hotness, the big thing, the craze, you know? But like Squishmallows today. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's basically what we got today. I'm tired. It's been a long week, and it is now, hang on. It is now 6 minutes past 11. Okay? And I'm going to call this here. I'm going to just like, I'm not even going to read it out because like I'm tired. And I rated someone last week. I'm going to rate someone next week instead or something or other. I don't know. Anyway, this is all I've got. I'm going to be busy as fuck in the next couple of days because I've still got more clean out stuff to do, and I've still got more glass to put up online, and like, and it never ends, you know. Which I'm okay with. I love the job, you know. I love the antique glass thing. And at some point I got to do a whole stream of just nothing but me showing off like half the shit that I find. God, I wish it could be a whole thing all on its own. Like, I'm like, if I could figure out how, I will just take the camera down to my storage unit and just take you guys through that on a live stream. Show you this. Just here's the storage unit full of shit that I've bought, and I'll try and show it to you without breaking anything. No guarantees. Anyway. Okay, so have a good week, guys. I'll hopefully talk to you guys next week. I'm kind of glad I came on stream today. I was kind of in two minds about it, but yeah. Take it easy, and you know, just don't work too hard and stuff because yeah, don't do that. And don't go into tech. Like, yeah, crochet all the things, write the things. I'll be on the social medias if you guys care to follow and stuff. Yeah. All right, take it easy. Bye.